5 Patriots players opting out. I think the biggest one that caught my attention is Dante Hightower. Just recently has said that he is going to opt out of this season. He has a 2-week-old baby with his fiance right now, and his quote is something saying like we're worried about our lives outside of football more than we are what's going on the field, something like that. I thought that's a huge deal, and I instantly thought of Connor back there. Ugh. And Connor, I'm wondering, is this a good thing for you or a bad thing? With all these guys opting out, yes, you're losing some stud players that you have to replace, and you already lost some other stud players to free agency. But is it a good thing? Is this spin zone for you because they're opening up cap space?
Definitely the spin zone I'm going with. Marcus Cannon, a big offensive lineman for us. Him leaving spin zone, obviously Cam Newton, he can move around. But for me, the biggest worry is Hightower's a captain, right? So for a team, if you're on that team and you see a captain not play, is that going to trickle down to the rest of the team, you think? Or by this point, have they already kind of known about this for a week and they're just kind of now reporting it?
I mean, I don't know. I wonder how much dialogue he has had back and forth with Bill Belichick and the rest of the team. I'm sure his teammates, especially the guys that he's really close with, I'm sure he's been texting with them throughout, probably like, hey, man, what are you thinking? What do you think going into this year? And he's probably, when they ask him, hey, Dante, what are you thinking? I bet a couple of teammates were a little bit surprised when he said, you know what, I'm not sure, man. I got a little baby on the way, which the baby's 2 weeks old now. This could go back months, maybe 2 or 3 months. He's been thinking about this, I'm guessing. But you're right. With the captain thing, there's always like the intangibles and then the tangibles you have. Hightower has all the tangibles. He's big, strong, fast, violent, is a solid tackler, especially in the open field, can cover anybody. You can put him on the line, rush like an outside back, or put him in the middle. He can do everything, but he has all the intangibles. Like you said, he's a captain. He's the leader of that defense. He calls the defense for them. Yep. And, oh, by the way, you lost Kyle Van Noy and Jamie Collins in free agency as well. So you're replacing pretty much that whole linebacking core, and you're replacing the guy that made it all happen, the guy that lined you up and got everyone situated. But I'm sure like anybody else, you feel like, okay, if anybody can handle it, don't you think the Bill Belichick-led Patriots can handle this?
Absolutely, without a question. I mean, it's not as if I have wavered in any sense. The Patriots are still going to win the Super Bowl this year. But on the opposite side, Dan Vitale, also fullback we just got from the Packers, he also opted out. So my question for you, AJ, if you were on the Patriots, we don't have a fullback anymore, linebacker, fullback, very similar position. Are you hopping over to the other side of the ball, maybe playing both ways and sticking your face in a couple holes?
I'm trying to do both. Yeah, I'm trying to play both ways. What's Landon Roberts? Isn't he the guy that went both ways last year?
Yeah, we also lost him. Thank you for reminding me.
Did he go to Miami? Is that right?
I think so. A lot of those guys loved Flores.
Age.
Yes. What's up?
Do you think 5 Patriots players came out this morning? Then there's been others trickling from others' team, but there hasn't been multiple from one team or another team yet. It seems like
5 Patriots players opted out.
Do you think they
players didn't come out this morning?
4 in a practice squad,
out, right?
Yeah. Do you think they had a call yesterday or something like a team meeting where they all had this conversation that they all decided the news all came out today?
I don't know, man. So it's July 28th right now. The deadline to opt out. There's 2 different deadlines. What are they? There's an August 3rd deadline, and August 1st. Do we know?
I think Nick said this morning, August 3rd, I believe, is the official one.
Can confirm.
I don't know. I think it might have been kind of an individual thing. I don't know if they called a team meeting, or I don't know if these players told the team maybe a couple of days ago they're all opting out, and then the team decided to kind of put it out now. It doesn't seem that way. It seems like it's just kind of trickling out as they go, because I'm sure this is a decision to make. Like, these guys making this decision, I'm sure they didn't take it lightly. It's something you had to talk to a lot of people about, talk to your family and friends, all your coaches, and see, like, hey, man, I'm just letting you know my real concerns I have for this season. And that's what it seems like to me. So I would bet they all kind of trickled in. And I think, obviously, these aren't the last guys to opt out. Andre Smith, he just opted out too, didn't he?
Yeah. Do you think that everything happening with the Miami Marlins and the MLB, that was kind of one of the things that pushed a lot of these guys to say, all right, they still haven't really figured things out. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe doing this.
Oh, I'm sure. Don't you think once they saw what happened in baseball, guys that were on the fence thinking okay, I'm going to go back in there at least the first couple of days and see what the protocols are, what the testing is like. Let me go in the facility, see if I feel safe, especially coming home at night to my family and some people with newborns and other people with issues. And then I guess once this baseball dilemma hits and 40% of the Marlins roster test positive with a couple of coaches as well, that had to be the tipping point for some people. And maybe that's the tipping point for some other people as well that were on the fence and thought, well, I'm going to go give it a shot. Maybe that will deter them. I still don't see people like opting out in droves. I don't think this is going to be the case where we have so many guys on every team opting out. We have right now we have 5 Patriots players opting out. Is there still only 4 others around the league?
Yeah, as of right now, I don't think anyone else in the last 20 minutes has come out besides Andre Smith.
There will be, by the time this show is over today. How many? Okay, what's the over/under? How many more guys do you think will opt out before 12 o'clock Eastern today?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was around 5 a team.
5 a team? You mean total once it all said and done before August 3rd?
Yeah. Or does that seem like too many?
I don't know, because I didn't think there would be 5 on one team, let alone there's already 5 on the Patriots now. So I think I even said on this show on McAfee and Hawk that it would be maybe a handful of guys or 10 or under throughout the whole league that opted out. That was my guess. I didn't know. So obviously I was way wrong, and we'll see. I guess we have until August 3rd to see how players feel. But so I guess it's going to be weird to see how some players go in, because today is the day where guys are officially going in. But didn't they start getting tested yesterday too?
Yeah, I believe it was quarterbacks and rookies have already been getting tested. But as far as I knew, that today was the initial report date to get tested for the rest of the team.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll see. Some guys I bet will go in there, and either they're going to be reassured that, I feel safe, I feel good about what we're doing, what the league's doing, what my team's doing to protect me, or guys are going to go the other way and be like, no, we have not figured this thing out. I don't feel safe, and they're going to get out of there and get – what's the different pay scales? You can get, $350K if you're high risk?
Yep.
You get $150 if you just opt out at some point, and is there a $250,000 option as well?
All I've seen right now is the $150 if you opt out and not are high risk, and then $350 if you're high risk. But my thing, Hightower, I could see because he just had a baby or whatever, and he's made money in his career. But a lot of the other guys haven't made money in their career yet. So I always thought that the money would trump possibly the risk of getting the COVID for these players. But in the case of the Patriots, it doesn't seem that way as of right now.
It doesn't. And I think David Sampson said yesterday, if you're making a ton of money and you have made a bunch of money in your career, how much easier is it for you to opt out than somebody, say, playing on their first contract that may become a free agent for the first time after this season? How is that guy going to opt out? You're stuck in a real pickle, as they say. If you're about to become a free agent, you haven't signed a giant deal yet, you're a really good player, but you're really worried about your health and safety. What do you do, man? Would you guys play?
Hell yeah. every single down. But AJ, for something like this, for Marcus Cannon, Dante Hightower, massive parts of the team, if they come back next year, does this affect chemistry at all? Like a guy like David Andrews, right? He's a center. He sat out last season because he had blood clots in his lungs. Obviously a high risk, and he's still playing. Does that affect how he kind of thinks about Marcus Cannon in any way, or no?
I don't think so. I think guys that have been, maybe people that haven't met these players, say you're a rookie and you come in and you play this whole season, Dante Hightower and Cannon aren't there. Then all of a sudden, next offseason, they decide to come back. I guess you have to kind of make up your own. You have to figure out, once you see them, how they interact with the other teammates if you've never played with them. But guys that have played with them, they know what those guys have done. They know what. Hightower's got 3 rings. The guy makes gigantic plays in Super Bowls all the time, in the biggest moments in the playoffs. I don't think it changes anything like that. And I think guys are mature about things like this, where they're like, you know what, this isn't time to sit here and say, oh, what are you doing? You're a baby. Why are you opting out? I think guys truly understand. They say, hey, I may feel somewhat safe, but I'm not Dante Hightower. I'm not Marcus Cannon. I'm not these guys. I don't know what their situation is like. If my situation was different, maybe I would feel different about what I'm doing this year playing football in the NFL. I mean, that's the plan right now. I don't think when they come back it changes a whole lot, honestly, especially if you've made plays. If you're a veteran presence in that locker room and you have been for a long time, like you mentioned, Hightower's a captain, you're fine. I don't think teammates have any issue with it.
How much of an impact does it have when a guy like Mahomes comes out and says that he's comfortable with the plan the Chiefs have in place? Now, granted, I know every team, their EIDR plan is maybe a little bit different, but don't you think that sways a lot of guys who are maybe on the fence to be like, okay, well, if it's good enough for Patrick Mahomes, it's probably good enough for us?
Absolutely. Don't you think? So Patrick Mahomes, I actually got to see him out in Lake Tahoe at that golf event I was at. An awesome dude. He and Kelsey both awesome. You understand when you're around him for a little bit, when you're around Patrick Mahomes, oh, I get it. I understand how he rallies his team from they could be behind 21 points. I understand how Patrick Mahomes how Mahomes breeds confidence in everyone around him. I just saw that at a charity golf tournament. Like he has that presence about him. So for him to come out and say that when he's the face of the league right now, the reigning MVP, Super Bowl champ, I think it does help a lot. I think the NFL and Roger Goodell had to be very happy when Patrick Mahomes decided to come out and say how safe he felt with Kansas City's protocols. But we all know, though, from facility to facility around the NFL, everyone's not going to have the same standards in the protocols that they follow, I think. And I guess once we're like 7, 8, 10 days into camp, then we'll truly see, like, okay, what teams are doing the best job of mitigating risk and trying to make sure that they do whatever they possibly can to keep these players safe, one, and to have a full NFL season.
Yeah, there's going to be teams that just have no idea what they're doing as far as protocols and stuff like that. And you asked us, AJ, if we're going to play. Yeah, we're going to say yes because we're idiots and we don't have a lot to do. Mm-hmm. But was there ever like a single season where maybe you were having kids and stuff like that you potentially would have thought about taking the opt-out?
You mean like if I was playing now?
Yeah. Or if this was going on during your career?
I try to put myself in a time when I would opt out, I guess, and when I wouldn't play. And I don't know. I don't know if I would have. I think it would have to be some big time family issues for me. My wife would have to have some kind of immune disorder or something, or it would have to put my kids at risk for me to actually opt out and not play a full NFL season when I was healthy and able to do it. But like by saying that, though, I don't claim to know what anyone else's situation is like, and I don't claim to understand anything that's going on right now. So it's just my individual view, and I respect everybody else's opinion and whatever they feel is right for them and their family and their safety. But
I think a lot of teams are going to be faced with this. I was talking to a coach yesterday in the NFL, and all this money comes out of the cap. So this isn't like the owners are paying for the players to sit out. It affects the team. It affects the team greatly. So even though Hightower's cap number comes off their books at $8 million, right? His cap charge for $350 or $150, whatever he's entitled to based on the CBA, that counts. So there's going to be about $4 million with each team of players that decide to opt out. Some of the guys, as you've noticed, are opted out. They may not have made the team. They may not have made the team, so it's probably a smart thing to do. You get the money, you don't even have to worry about making a team.
I got breaking news for you, too. While that happened, Patrick Chung is also opting out for the Patriots.
Son of a bitch! Yeah, I mean, that hurts. I mean, but look, they drafted the Kyle Duggar from in the second round this year. They've got to get him on the field. I mean, this is all going to take a toll on their team. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Chung was a really good player. Chung allows them to play man-to-man coverage in their base front. And so he can cover most tight ends. He can cover in the slot. So that's a huge loss. He's had some difficulty medically. And, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to see a lot more.
Why do you think right now, early on, there's so many Patriots players opting out compared to the rest of the league?
That's a great question. I'm sure it's all going to come down to because it's so hard to be up there and it's difficult. I think that ultimately there's probably circumstances that go with the Patriots. I know Bolden would have liked to play, but medically he can't. I think the same thing with Marcus Cannon. I think the injury and the factors. I mean, the one thing people don't talk about, AJ, you know this, when you are the Patriots, you've played almost a full season more than any other team in the league. You're Patrick Chung. You've been to playoff games every single year for the last 7 or 8 years. That takes a toll on your body. That's another year that you've added. This gives him an opportunity to take a year off and get paid. It may not be the dumbest thing of all to do.